New images, new images, new images! Hi, welcome to Kenneth Spader Christmas. New images are here for the BeagleBone Black. There's a lot of new people are using panels for the first time this year and may not be familiar with how to use the BeagleBone Black. It is a little different than the Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to go through every step that it takes to get the new image on the BeagleBone Black. A couple of things before we get started. You will need mini, you need that. So it's a little bit bigger. This one's flat. So micro you don't need, mini you need. A little pro tip. Connect this up to your home internet just to load it, just to configure it, and then if you want to, after that, you can move it off to your show network. But it's so much easier to deal with if it's on your home network. Your computer's already on your home network, and so it can talk to it. There's a couple of configuration steps where you need connectivity, so makes it so much easier to do that. This is a micro SD card. This is a sleeve. You put it in there like this. Basically the metal parts here, the metal parts here. So it turns the micro SD card into a full-size SD card. This can go into your computer usually. At least that's the case here. So I will first format the card, and then I will put the new image on the card. The first time you format these SD cards, you should use SD Formatter. Just go to sdcard.org and you can download Windows or Mac version. And so that's what we're going to use for this. If you've already formatted it once, you can just do a quick format. Because this was a brand new card and because I'm showing you how to do this, I'm going to do an overwrite format. Those take a lot longer. They take about 30 minutes to format a 16 gig card. If it's bigger, it's going to take longer. If it's an 8 gig, it's going to take less. BeagleBone recommends 1.2 amps or more to power the board without any capes on it or any peripherals plugged into it. I use this 24,000 milliamp hour battery, does just fine. Some computer USB ports don't supply enough power, so you can try it, and if it doesn't work, then get a better power supply if something's acting kind of weird. Alright, so this is where the fun part begins. If you have anything on the BeagleBone, take it off. If you have the cape, the octa-scroller on top of it, take it off. If you have anything in the USB slot, take it off. If you have a card in there, you can take that out. We will take the card that we just formatted and we will put that into the BeagleBone Black. Here is everything we need to get started. Now, this is a gigabit switch. You may not need that if you are near your router, but let me plug that in because I am not near my router, but I do have the internet. This is coming from my router. This is connected into the BeagleBone. So the BeagleBone's connected to my home network on the internet. I have the card that we just formatted in there. I will plug in the other end of this cable is not connected, so I'll plug the USB cable in. Where does it go? This way. Okay, this switch is the boot switch, and so this is the one you need to hold down when you apply power so that it'll boot from this card. And what I do is I can't hear that, but I click this a couple of times to make sure that I'm actually holding it down. I'm using my fingernail to hold it down, and now I'm going to apply power and keep holding it until we see the lights start to flash. So all 4 lights will come on, they will go off, and then the boot process will start, and then we'll release it. So there we go, they're flashing. Now we can release. So this is starting up and loading the image. It takes a couple of minutes to get started, and we'll go over to the computer and we will try to connect to it. I recommend using Chrome to connect to the Raspberry Pi, the BeagleBones, the different controllers that you have. I've just had better luck with that. So the first thing you can try, and if you don't know what IP address this thing has, so just try going to http://FPP for Falcon Pi Player or Falcon Player, but try doing that and see if you can get it, and I cannot. So if you can't get to it just by going to FPP, then you have to get a little bit more creative, and you'll have to figure out, you may be able to go to your router and see what IP address was allocated to this BeagleBone. Once you find the correct IP address of the BeagleBone, it will bring up this Falcon Player page. Check the version to make sure that you have BBB in here. At least Dan's current images have this BBB and they're running on stretch. So at this point we want to flash the eMMC, so go to FPP settings, click on advanced settings, and at the bottom there, flash to eMMC. And hit yes. So what this is doing is copying the contents of the flash card into the onboard memory. This will take a while. While it's going through this process, it's got the little Cylon look there on these 4 LEDs. Alright, so once this is done and it says calling shutdown, the BeagleBone actually powers off. So now you can remove power. You can remove this flash card, which had the operating system on it, and you can now insert a new flash card that has been formatted and is blank. You can attach the octoscroller if you want to and power it from there, but I'm just going to power it back up this way. Again, it'll take a couple of minutes. I'm not holding any buttons down, and we will be booting from the onboard memory. Once the BeagleBone has booted up, you can go back to the main status page by clicking this link here. All it's doing here is checking to see if there are any updates that are available for Falcon Player. If there are, you'll probably see something pop up and say, hey, you can upgrade. Okay. So now we're ready to go configure this thing. So the first thing I like to do is set the time. So we will set the time to your time zone, and I am in the central time zone, so we will submit that. And we should have the current time, which is 1:04 a.m. Yes, I'm up to date. This is where you can go to the network stuff. Right now it's going to be set to DHCP. That is automatic IP addressing, and that's coming from your router. I would suggest you set it to static and pick an IP address that is going to be on your show network, but don't do that until you actually move it. If you want to play directly from X-Lights into the BeagleBone, You can come here and set up universes, however many universes, depends on the number of panels that you have. You don't have to enable the output, but you do need to set the number of universes for all the data that's going to be coming across. Then you go to LED panels and you do enable the LED panel output, and you configure all this stuff based on your configuration. One final note, the way to power this down is to actually hit the shutdown button. What that will do is shut the BeagleBone Black down safely. It'll save all the files. You don't want to just yank power. So that's about it. It's a pretty simple process. It does take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, but you can get through it. If you are just starting out with panels this year and you're having some problems with the BeagleBone Black, get the latest image. If you went out to GitHub and you got the 1.5 image, that's dated. If you just got your BeagleBone, it's probably a Rev C, and mine worked better on the newer image. Yours probably will too. So that would be the first thing I would tell you to try. I hope this information was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. And all the dogs run. And we have a jet flying over. There's so many cars going by.